record this. So as I just mentioned, this is the first time that we're doing this assignment, and then we're trying to also do it online, which is going to be a little bit of a challenge, but it's going to be this mock interview assignment. And the reason that I'm doing this assignment and something that we discussed with among our faculty at the at Cerritos College was that we have what's called an advisory committee, and the advisory committee are made up of business people that kind of meet with us, and they tell us what are the skills and what are the talents that students are lacking that are coming out of our college, or that that you're seeing in general take place in the workforce. And what things do you think that we need to teach students better? And one of the items that came up were interview skills. And the amazing part was Mahia Sharp, who used to run this department at Cerritos College, she put a lot of emphasis into those skills, and she actually added one of our SLOs. If you look on your syllabus, you'll see that one of the SLOs is interview skills, and I hadn't been doing that since I took over the class, because I've been focusing a lot more on business documents, how to do an email, how to do a memo, and all that, and then all the stuff with business writing. And so as a result of our advisory meeting with business professionals, they said interview skills are very important. So I decided to make a change. Normally, what we would be doing at this point is a group writing assignment. We would be doing a proposal or a report. And I decided to go ahead and try doing mock interviews. She used to do them all the time in the in-person class. I don't know if she did them in the online class, but I'm going to try and do it in an online environment. And I think I came up with a pretty good way of doing it that I think will work. The big question is, do I need to really know when students want to do it, because I want to be able to catch everybody, and pretty much everyone needs to do it, whether you're being interviewed or whether you're being an interviewer. And you don't have to do both. You do one role or the other. I'm really hoping that I'll get at least 20 students out of this. I have about almost 80 students that are all together in the 3 classes that I teach of BCOT 247. I'm hoping to get at least maybe a 15 or so that would be willing to actually be interviewed, and then the rest of you will all interview them, and you each have a role to play. And I hopefully made it easy enough for everybody to follow, and I'll explain that to you all as we go. But basically, you're going to select to be interviewed or to interview. And if you're going to be interviewed, then there's certain things that you need to do to get ready for that. And if you're going to be an interviewer, there's a little bit more that you need to do prior to get ready for that. And I'll explain all that in this presentation. So as we start off, before we get going, does anybody have any questions? Any questions related to
No,
the assignment or the class at all? All right, can you guys see my screen right now? And are you looking at
yes.
Home screen right now? You're looking at the home screen with the start here button?
Yes.
Okay, good. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and select this module, which is module 3. That's where we're at. And then I'm going to come down here, and I have I just added this last night. It's a mock interview assignment explanation. And we're gonna do the mock interviews between 11:29, which is the Wednesday after Thanksgiving, all the way through 12:10. Those are that's the window of time. So within those 2 weeks, roughly 2 weeks, we're gonna have anywhere from 8 to 10 interview times that you can sign up for. So let's start by looking at the assignment instructions, so I can make sure I explain this well. So it's basically a mock interview assignment. This will be an online assignment conducted live in Zoom. So that means you have to log in at the time that you select, on the day that you select, and you have to be available in Zoom, just like we are right now, in order to be either interviewed or to interview somebody else. I will MC the interview, so that way I'll basically probably call out the person who is going to ask the next question. Please be ready to ask the next question. I'm even going to be providing a few questions for you to ask. But if we continue on here, it says students will choose either to be interviewed or to act as an interviewer. Each role is slightly different, but the same points will equally be rewarded to both roles. Students will select a date and time that works in their schedule where they can log into a live Zoom session and join in on the interview. There will be 8 to 10 different days and times to choose from. over the final 2 weeks of class 11/29 to 12/10. So selecting a day and time, that's the first thing that you're going to want to do. So listed in modules for week 13 and 14 are 8 discussion posts labeled mock interview with the date and time. I'll show you that right now so that you can see it. So if I go to modules, I already have one in there. I don't have any more than one, but I'm going to create more. I want to get some feedback from you guys first. But if you scroll down to week number 13, sorry. So it's actually week number 13 right here. So notice it says mock interview Wednesday, 11/29 at 9 a.m. So that's the only one I have scheduled right now. I'm going to be scheduling, like I said, 8 more to 10 more, depending on, trying to give enough variety, but I also have to have enough students at each one to make the interview happen. So I'll be setting those up. I'll go over that in a minute, but that's what they'll look like. And there'll be multiple of them. There'll be at least 4 or 5 in this module this week, and then there'll be 4 or 5 in this week right here. So just keep that in mind. That's where you will go to sign up. So once they're there, you'll go to this link and you'll click it, and I'll show you how to sign up in a minute. Actually, I can probably just show you that right now. I will click it. So this is going to give you the option to sign up. So you are selecting to be interviewed or interview somebody on Wednesday, 11/29 at 9 a.m. So whatever works in your schedule, you would pick the day and time. And then I'm going to be putting the names of everybody here as you sign up. Now you might say, well, how do I sign up? You just come down here and you click reply. Somebody already did it. You click reply and you put in when you want to interview, that you want to be interviewed or that you want to interview somebody. So if you can see here, Elena already put, I want to interview somebody else. So I can go ahead and I can come up here. I'll do it right now. And I can edit this assignment. Can I edit it? Yeah. Ooh, yeah. And then I can add Elena. She says she wants to be an interviewer. So I'm just going to put Elena. What was her last name? Does it show up? It doesn't show up. I don't remember what her last name was. But anyway, Elena is going to be one of the interviewers. Okay, so now she's signed up. And when it comes to being interviewer or interviewed, once it fills up, once these 4 fill up, nobody else can be interviewed on that date. But we can get up to 16 or 15, 16 people here maximum to do the interviews for the 4 people. Now, for some reason, when we have 1 person sign up to be interviewed and we have 16 people here, we're going to have to encourage a couple of them to actually be interviewed so that we can get the job done. Anyway, so that's how you would sign up. You just come to this page and you would click reply at the bottom, as I showed you. And then once you sign up, I will add your name, and it's all going to be by date. So the first person, like Elena Rios, she signed up already, so she's the first one on the list, and so it'll subsequently show everybody else who signs up below her. And so it'll be in the order of who signed up first as far as who gets interviewed and who gets to be the interviewer that date. Once we get full, then they'll have to pick a different date. So that's how you'll sign up. Let me go back to the assignment explanation. So that was the first thing. So selecting a day and time, I pretty much showed you how to do it. So listed in module 13 and 14 or 8. Discussion posts labeled mock interviews. Select the module that works in your schedule. Each mock interview will be available for 4 people to be interviewed and up to 16 people to do the interviewing. We need a minimum of 4 interviewers per interviewee. And then students will reply to those discussion posts with if they choose to be interviewed or interview somebody else. And that's what Elena did. She was going to interview somebody else. As students reply, I will add their names to the schedule at the top of the discussion post as they come in. Read everything below before you sign up. So when you're in the assignment, make sure you read everything before you sign up. So those choosing, and then you only need to sign up for 1 meeting and 1 role, interviewee or interviewer. So you're not doing both, you're just doing one or the other. And those choosing to be interviewed, so based on the job that you selected in your job search, which was homework number 11, and your cover letter and resume, writing assignments 5 and 6, your classmates will now interview you for that job. You must attach your resume, cover letter. So basically you're writing assignments 5 and 6, which you haven't done yet, you're doing this week, and the job posting you selected, homework 11, in your reply. There is a paperclip icon to attach. So when you sign up, if you're signing up to be interviewed, you're going to be interviewed, then you also, when you say, I want to be interviewed, you also need to attach your resume, your cover letter, and your job description. And that's pretty much all you need to do before the interview, other than prepare yourself for questions. And that's what you're going to do next. Prepare to answer questions that you anticipate might be asked. You're not going to be given the questions beforehand. You're going to be interviewed the moment you sign up. The moment that you're going to be interviewed is when you're going to be hearing the questions for the first time. So just be prepared, anticipate what questions you might think they're going to ask you. Have 3 or 4 success stories ready as needed. So you should always do this in every interview, some success stories of things that you've accomplished and done in your career or in your workplace, or if you don't have any job experience, even on the ball field or in high school, anything that you've accomplished. And then have your elevator speech ready. This is this week's homework assignment, I believe, is to have your elevator speech. Elevator speech is really quite honestly the answer to the first question. And by the way, all the first questions will be, tell us about yourself and how your experience relates to the job you're applying for. And that's pretty much your elevator speech. So if you do your elevator speech in this week's homework, then you're going to be able to have answer for the very first question. Have a copy of your resume and references available during your interview. So that's something that you should have ready when you're being interviewed the day that you show up. Have at least one question to ask the group of interviewers. Now, you know what job you applied for. You picked the job and you wrote your resume and cover letters based on the job that you picked. So you should know, a little bit about the job. So come up with a question that you can ask them, and then come prepared on the day and time of your interview, and dress as if you were going on a real interview. So if you're going on maybe you're getting a job as a dog walker, then you dress as a dog walker would. But if you're going to be trying to get a job as a secretary or an executive secretary or something like that, then you should dress the part. And we're only going to be able to see your head up anyway, right? Because you're going to be seen on video. That's if you're choosing to be interviewed. So read through those and make sure you understand. And the big thing there is make sure you attach your resume and cover letter and job posting. Again, you should be able to download all these from Canvas. You've already uploaded them, but you all should also have them on your computer because you created them for this class. So either way, you need to attach them, and I'll show you that when we go back to the other slide or other page. But if you choose to be an interviewer, so I don't want to be interviewed. Some of you might be very intimidated. However, I really want to encourage you to please sign up to be interviewed because I'm worried we're not going to have enough students. So I'm going to need at least, 2 for every one of those meetings. So I'm looking at least 15 or 16 of you to do it. But if you're going to choose to be an interviewer and you're going to interview somebody, then you need to, before the interview, you need to review their job description, resume, and cover letter for the 4 persons being interviewed during your meeting. So again, if they've signed up on your meeting date, they've attached their resume, they've attached their cover letter, they've attached their job description. So you, as another member of that team, you can go in and you can actually look at their resume. You can open it right there. You can download it, whatever you need to do to review it. But you want to review their resume, cover letter, and job description. And then you want to prepare 2 unique questions for each person to be interviewed based on their job description, resume, and cover letter. Just basically 2 questions for each one. So really, you're going to come up with 2 questions for one person. So let's just say, again, they're going to be a dog walker. So you're looking at it, you're looking at the job description, you're looking at their resume. So you can come up with a question about something on their resume, or you can come up with a question that's based on the job description that you think would be pertinent to ask them. And this is what you're going to be graded on. You're going to be graded on what kind of questions you've asked. So you need to create a good question, and it needs to be open-ended. It shouldn't be one they can say yes or no or answer in one word. It should be something that they have to answer, with a paragraph or a couple of sentences. So you're going to create the questions. Now, the reason I'm having you do 2 questions is you're actually only going to ask one of those during your interview. But if for some reason somebody else asks a very similar question, then you have to resort to question number 2. So that's why I'm having you create 2 questions for each person. You may only ask one, or you're probably only going to ask one, but in case somebody else before you asks a very similar question, you can pick the other one. Does that make sense? I will also be providing one question for you to ask. So basically, you're going to be asking, we're going to be asking anywhere from 8 to 10 questions, ideally. So each one of you that's going to be on the interview group you're going to be asking 2 questions for the person being interviewed. And one question will be provided by me, and the other question is one that you've created. So, and I'll be doing it all live that day. So, if you're Fernanda, if you're going to be interviewing somebody, I'll say, okay, question number 1 is Fernanda, and she's going to ask, and question number 1 is going to be the same for everybody. Tell us about yourself and how your experience and education relate to the job. And then that's it. Danya, you would be question number 2. Let's just pretend the 4 of you online right now are the 4 interviewers. Then, okay, question number 2 is from Danya, and then Danya might ask one of her 2 questions, right, to the interviewer, and say the interviewer is me. And then I'll go to Christina, and Christina will then ask, okay, Christina, you can ask one of the 2 questions I've given you, the one I've given you, or the one you've created. So then Christina will ask her question, and then the interviewer will answer it. And then Jordan will ask the 4th question, and he'll ask his question. Then I'll go back to Fernanda. Okay, Fernanda, now ask your 2nd question, whatever that is. And the 2nd question would be either the one I've provided or your own, because you're all gonna be given one question to ask by me. And so I'll tell you when you're gonna ask that or when you're not gonna ask that. And you're both gonna go through 2 rounds of questioning. So 1 question each and then 1 question each. That's how it'll go. And then the interview will be over. And then at the very last question, I'll step back in and say, okay, Eric, do you have any questions for the interview committee? And then they would ask their questions, and then you guys would, whoever feels equipped enough based off of your study of the job description and the resume, be able to answer the question, and then that'll end the interview. So it's basically to just be a series of questions, but you're going to be graded as an interviewer on how creative your questions were, how relevant they were to a job interview, how relevant they were to the job that she or he is applied for. And then I will MC it all. And so it should flow fairly nicely. We'll see. It just really depends on students signing up. And this is a high point assignment, and you have the rest of class to prepare and to get involved. So again, if you choose to be an interviewer, you're going to review the job description resume. You're going to create 2 unique questions. You're going to be prepared to ask each interviewer the 2 questions, and then dress the part, bring a notepad, take notes. Because if for some reason you ask a question and they give a very brief answer, you might want to follow up with a different version of the same question if they didn't quite answer it, or or you want more information. You can ask kind of a follow-up question to make sure that it's not, the last thing you want to do in an interview as an interviewer or an interviewee. As an interviewee, you don't want to answer really briefly. You don't want to just say 3 words and that's your answer. You want to always elaborate. And then as the interviewer asking the questions, you want to make sure your questions are open-ended enough where it requires somebody to ask, to answer with a lot more depth than just a quick answer. So that's kind of what you'll be graded on. So again, during the interview, there'll be 2 rounds of questioning. Each interviewer in a group will ask 1 question per round per person being interviewed. One of the questions will be provided by the professor. The other question is one that you created. Feel free to ask follow-up or clarifying questions if needed. Now you might say, well, why do I need to prepare 2 questions for each person being interviewed? Because I don't know who's going to show up. I may have 4 people signed up, but only 2 show up. And if you've prepared for one of them, the 2 that show up aren't the 2 that you've prepared for, then you're not ready. That's one reason. Secondly is I'm not sure yet, like, who you're going to be interviewing. I can't make that determination yet. So you need to review all 4 of the potential interviewees' information, their resume, cover letter, and job description, and then prepare a couple of questions. And by the way, honestly, it'll probably only take you a half hour or less to come up with the questions. Once you've reviewed the resumes, reviewed the cover letters, and reviewed the job description, you'll whip out a couple of questions for each one in no time. And so I don't think it's that difficult to do. Here's a rough grading rubric. So your peers and professor will grade each person in the role they play. Actually, I'm not going to have it be peers, just me. All students not interviewing or being interviewed will observe. Okay, that's not going to be true. Sorry, I did this in another class, or I'm doing it right now in another class. So basically, it should say your professor will grade each person and the role they play. Each person's grade will be based on the following criteria: confidence. How prepared were the students for the interview? Did they play the part? Did they have the needed items in hand? Did they come across professional, confident, and personable? Clarity. Did they answer the questions being asked? Were the questions and answers clear, articulate, and detailed enough? Did they get off topic or go down a rabbit trail? Were the questions and answers relevant to the job and valuable to know the answer to? So that's the second one. Content. Did they ask and answer questions that would demonstrate knowledge of the position and the company? One thing about being interviewed is you should always research the company that you're being interviewed by. And so your answers should reflect whatever knowledge you've gained by your research. So again, if you're being interviewed, you may want to not only, come prepared with some answers, but you might also want to do a little research. I should probably add that to the top list. Do a little research on the company that you're trying to get the job for, and that would be the one that you selected to write your resume and cover letter for. So yeah, make sure that you demonstrate a little bit of understanding and knowledge of the position as well as the company. And did they demonstrate that they would be a good fit for this position? Would you hire them, and would you want to work for them? So I'll be doing that. And then finally, congeniality. Were they friendly, gracious, kind, caring, engaged, positive, helpful, enthusiastic, etc.? As both parties, whether you're asking the questions or whether you're being asked the questions and answering them, are you being gracious? Are you kind? Are you enthusiastic? Or are you just kind of and I'll be the judge of that. But this is the rubric roughly that you'll be graded on, and it's a 200-point assignment. So basically 50 points for each of those. That'll be your grade based off of your interview. So that's pretty much the assignment. Again, if we go, okay, well, I want to sign up. What do I need to do? Then again, you would go to modules, and you would go down to whichever day and time that works for you based off of the last 2 weeks of class. So week 13 and 14. Right now, I only have one in here, like I said, but I will have many more. And if you select that, again, you're going to sign up by clicking reply right here. But read these things first. To sign up for one of the above, select reply below. In the box that opens, type I want to be interviewed or I want to interview somebody else. As people sign up, I'll add their names to the list above. If you choose to be interviewed, please also attach your resume, cover letter, and the job posting that you selected to the paperclip icon below. So I'll show you that. If I click reply here, I could type right here, I want to be interviewed. And then right here, there's an attach link. Can you guys see that? So I would just click attach and then choose file. And I go navigate to my resume, and then I'll upload it, and then I'll click. It should, let me try this. I'll delete it if I have to. I'll just put something there. Let's see, those are all church stuff. Here, I'll put this document, okay. So choose file. Can I add any more? It's not letting me add more files. So you might have to, let me see what happens when I hit submit over here. So it looks like it's only letting me upload one file. So that might be a problem. Post reply. So what you may have to do is you might have to post the reply. Okay, here's what you're gonna have to do. So post the reply, and then you're gonna have to reply to your reply. So if you come down here to the bottom, here's my post I just made. Eric Doucette, I want to be interviewed, and I have my resume here. Then I would just click reply again, and then I can add another file, and then I can hit submit again on the right over here. It's post reply on the right. This thing's in my way. And then once I post that reply, I had to go to that one, and I would hit reply again, or I could just go back to this first one and hit reply again. So if I hit, let's just put something in here. I'll delete all this. If I hit post reply, now I have 2 replies to myself. See how it has that? And then I could just hit reply to this or reply to that. Doesn't matter, either one. I can add the third document that way. So anyway, you're gonna have to hit reply 3 times if you end up being interviewed. But then you're kind of done, other than preparing questions. I mean, or being prepared for questions that you might be asked. So that's all you need to do it. Now, if you want to interview somebody else, as I just mentioned, you can see what Elena did there. She just typed reply, and then she typed in, I want to interview someone else. That means that she's going to be an interviewer. And so that would be what you do for that date and time. That means you need to come back to that date and time, and then I would just click post reply, and then it says right here, I want to be interviewed by somebody else. So then again, as these are adding up all the way down the page, I will be adding them to the role that they're going to play up here. So that way, when you come in, you can see, oh, there's no roles left. They're all full, Or if for some reason a bunch of people signed up and then I ran out of people to be interviewed and people to interview, then I'll contact everybody on the list below the last person who did it and tell them, hey, sorry, this date and time is full. You need to pick a different one. And so I'll let you know. So anyway, so that's how you will sign up. And then, of course, don't forget, most importantly of all, to show up the day and time of your interview. So what you will do then is just assume you've signed up now, and and so the day comes when you need to be interviewed, and you have it all written down. I'll do my best to communicate with you about it, but it doesn't mean I'll remember to communicate with everybody. So if that's the case, just come to modules on the day in which you are to be interviewed, and then you can scroll down. You can also cut and paste the link if you want and have it with you, so that way you can just log in directly from your computer. But you would select the day and time you're going to be interviewed again, and it's going to open the page where you signed up, and then you just click this link right here, to join the Zoom session. So you click that link, and then you'll be in the interview Zoom session that day at that time. And I'm giving us a window of like an hour to two. I'm giving myself a window of an hour, but if it goes over the hour, it goes over the hour. If it's shorter than that, it's shorter than that. If I have 4 interviews, I'm expecting them all to last anywhere from 15 to 30 minutes. So that one might be a little bit longer if there's 4. And then, the rest of you, for instance, let's just say all of us showed up all on time. It's 10 o'clock and I have 4 interviews to do. Well, then the rest of you can watch, and you're going to learn from watching the people who go first, what to do and what not to do. And I'll try and do my best to give live feedback as we're going, like, here's some positives and here's some negatives. So that way, everybody can kind of use it as a learning experience for either the interview they're going to be doing in a minute or just their own life, interviews that they might be going on. And fortunately for you guys, I've been over the last 6 or 7 years, I've been on a lot of interviews, and I'm a pastor by profession. I've been doing that for almost 30 years, but I started getting other jobs for supplementing my income, and just because I wanted to do some different things. And I got interviewed at multiple colleges for teaching positions. I got hired at Cerritos in 2019, and then I left Cerritos and went to Norco College in 2020. But I interviewed at like 6 different colleges at that time. And then I also did some other jobs in LA prior to that, where I was getting interviewed. So I have a lot of recent interview experience, at least in the education realm and ministry realm. So I have a lot to add as far as what to do and not to do. So hopefully I can kind of help in the process while students are being interviewed and interviewing others. So that's pretty much it for this assignment. So I just release you all. I mean, let me get some feedback from you guys right now. Is there any days or times that work best for you? I know you're all on this morning Zoom session today, so I'm assuming you're all going to say mornings. But is that true? Do you guys have any other dates and times that would work best? Do you guys think weekends should we do a few on the weekends for people? Any thoughts?
For me, for the weekend, it will work good.
It would work good. How about evenings? Danya, Christina, Jordan, Bernetta?
In the evening, yeah, that works for me
Okay,
too.
you're pretty flexible. How about Danya and Christina and Jordan? Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah.
I prefer evenings just because I do work during the day.
Okay, that's kind of what I need to know. What time in the evening, like 6 p.m. or earlier or
Uh,
later?
Anytime after 4:30 because I could just stay longer at work. I work at a school, so I could just stay longer and go into one of the classrooms to do the interview and then go
Okay.
home from there.
Okay, that's good. How about you, Christina? Can you hear me, Christina? Because I see your microphone's not muted, so I don't know if it's working. And Jordan typed in the chat. If you can't respond, Christina, you can also type in the chat. You can come up to the little bar up here that says chat. You can select it, and then there you go. Okay, yes, evenings. Currently driving to work, but I'm listening. Okay, no worries. Mic not working, not a problem. So yeah, evenings work good for you. Okay, so the way that I planned it. I actually came up with a schedule. Let's see if I can find it. What did I do with it? I think it's no, that's not it. Darn it. I don't know what I did with it. Anyway, I think I had it. I had here. No, that's not it. I scheduled, maybe it's open here. Let me see. Yeah, there we go. I think there it is. So here's what I had so far. Let's see if you guys, I don't think you guys can see that. So let me stop sharing and let me reshare this. All right. Can you guys see that now? Fernanda, Sonia? So
Yes.
so I have Wednesday the 29th. I was going to do two of them. I was going to do 9 to 10 and then noon to 1. And then Thursday the 30th, I was going to do 10 to noon. And then Friday, I was going to do 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. And then actually the only one I had at night so far was 4 to 6 on Monday. So I'll do a few more at night. Friday night's bad. No, I don't want to do Friday night. I could do Thursday night. I could probably do a Thursday night, so I'll probably add that in. I did. This was just a rough, quick. I didn't even go into the next week. This was just week 1. So that's 6 meetings. So I'll probably cut it down to I'll probably do 4 and 4. I'll do 2 during the day, 1 at night during the week, and then 1 on the weekend. I'll do like a Saturday midday or something, and then I'll do the same. I'll do maybe the opposite next week. I'll do a different morning of a different day, a different night of a different day of the week, and then maybe a Sunday versus a Saturday or something like that, to see if I can catch everybody. You guys think that would work? So basically 1 during the day at some point, 1, excuse me, 2 during the day, probably 4 during the day. No, let's do 3 during the day, 3 during the day, 3 at night after 5, and then 2 on the weekends. That would give me 8. What do you guys think?
Yeah, that'll work for me.
I think that work.
Okay. All right. The other two would have to type in your response. It's fine. You can put a thumb up or a thumbs up by hitting reactions if you want to do that. You can do reactions and just do a thumbs up. Okay, thanks. It works. All right. And you already said you didn't mind the time, Jordan. So, okay. All right. So that's probably what I'll do. I'll probably be scheduling those. What I'm going to basically be doing is duplicating the slot, the folder that I have for the one that I already made, this one here. So I'll just be duplicating that and then placing it where it needs to go and changing the dates and times. And then I'll just release. I mean, you're pretty much released now if this first day works for you, Wednesday the 29th, and you want to do it. It's going to kind of get it out of the way and you don't have to worry about it going into finals week. But the closer we get, of course, the longer you wait, if you wait till the end, then you're, getting closer to finals week, which doesn't matter in our class because you're just going to be doing another exam like you've been doing. But if you have other classes that might have very demanding finals week, you don't want to be too close to that and then be worried about this. So, but we'll see how it goes. I'm sure there'll be some students that don't want to do it or can't do it for whatever reason. They don't have the technology to do it. And I don't know if I put it in there, but I'll add this as well to the assignment explanation. For some reason, you absolutely cannot do this, then you need to get a hold of me to arrange a different kind of assignment, which I'll probably end up having you do some kind of a report or some kind of a proposal or something like that based off of that. So just keep in mind, I think the interview is going to be a lot easier, and to me, it's going to be fun, and I think it's going to be educational. I think you're going to learn a lot from the process that'll prepare you, especially if you've not been on a lot of interviews. And it's a little intimidating if you choose to be interviewed, but it really could be very valuable for you to do. So I really want to encourage you to choose being interviewed versus being an interviewer. And it could really be, it's going to challenge you. And if you're into being challenged, it'll challenge you maybe a little bit more and it'll prepare you a lot more for your upcoming interview for a job that you might really want to get. So, all right. So that's all I have. Any final questions before we end the Zoom session?
Yes, Professor. I have a question. I personally has been off of work like almost 10 years. So what would I do in that case?
That's fine. I'm assuming you're probably, being a mother or whatever, and then also, going to school, right? So, you can, I mean, ideally, if you looked in your book, there was a chronological resume, and then there was what we call a functional resume. And typically, if you've been out of work for a while or you don't have very much work experience, the functional resume actually is a little better, and it's really you listing your skills more than anything. So what skills do you have in different areas? And there's some good examples in the book. So you could do a functional resume, and then when you're interviewed, you can, just let them know, hey, I've been going to, just tell them, hey, I've been out of work for a while, but I've been going to school and whatever you've been doing. So I don't think it's that big of a deal, as long as you're upfront about it.
Yeah, thank you.
Anyone else have any questions? Danya, Christina, you can type it in the chat. Jordan. Okay, thanks, Christina. Oh, hello. It seems like I have the same problem with assignments from last semester. Okay. Did you want to talk to me, Christina, after we're done? And we can talk after the class, after I end the Zoom. If you stay on, everybody else leaves and we can talk. Is that cool? You can do you can't do the reactions on yours. There's reactions. You can hit thumbs up like that. All right, we'll just stay online, Christine, and then we'll talk after. Anyone else? Danya, Dayana, and then Jordan. Do you guys have any questions for me before we close?
Me.
Okay, thanks. Jordan, you're good? Okay. Okay, no problem, Christine. Just send me an email. All right, well, that's pretty much it, everybody. I hope that you have a great rest of the day, and I hope that this becomes a good experience for you, and hopefully it makes sense. I can't think of any loopholes that I've missed, so we'll see how it goes. The only thing I thought was a little clunky is having to upload all 3 documents the way that I showed you, but it's not difficult to do. But just know that that's the only way it's probably going to work, because it's not allowing you to upload more than 1 document. Usually there's a little plus sign that you can click to add additional documents, but it's not letting you do that. The other option is you can put them all together in one Word document. You can cut and paste everything into one Word document and then just upload one. So that could also work. But anyway, all right. Well, if you have any questions or issues, don't hesitate to reach out to me. And I did unfortunately miss my office hours yesterday. I feel awful. So I apologize, but I'm willing to meet. I'm willing to meet any other time, and it doesn't have to be just that hour and a half that I'm online. You can reach out to me and I'll meet with you in Zoom. I just met with another student right now. So, all right. Thank you as well, and have a great day, everybody. We'll see you the next time. Okay.
Thank you, Professor. Appreciate your time.
You're welcome. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.